But let's hear from our esteemed one of the Wisconsin 14 right now, Senator Jim Holperin.
Well, thank you all. Thank you all so much for attending today. I've been in politics a long time. I represented Oneida and Vilas counties for a long time, and I got to tell you, you don't see a crowd like this very often in support of a cause like this in Oneida and Vilas County. So something's happening. Something's happening, and you've all caused it, and you've all been a part of it. So I want to thank you very sincerely and very profoundly for your support of me, not only in my recent absence from the state, but your support of my candidacy over the years and the causes which I hope to represent in the Capitol in Madison on behalf of all of you. I sit next to Senator John Erpanbach on the floor of the Wisconsin Senate, and John spends a lot of time in this area. He has relatives in Sainer, and he's in the Northwoods quite a bit, loves coming up here. And when I leaned over one day and told him I would be attending this event, he said, gee, I wouldn't mind going up and talking about campaign finance reform. He has been more involved in that topic than I have, and expressed quite an eagerness to come and address this crowd today. And so I said, John, have at it. Well, again, events have intervened, and now it's not possible for John to be here personally, but I would like to introduce to you and have you give a warm welcome to State Senator John Erpanbach, who represents the Middleton area. John?
Campaign finance reform. We have to get it passed. That's the only way we're going to be able to take control of our campaigns, and it's the way we're going to know who we're really voting for in the end. And if you want to talk about, seriously, you want to talk about reining in state spending, it actually starts with campaign finance reform. A lot of people don't know that. They think we can just cut spending. Well, there's reasons why corporations hire lobbyists to talk to legislators about funding this or tax breaks for that or so on and so forth. And it starts with the amount of money that corporations give when it comes time to getting involved in campaigns. So campaign finance reform has always been, for me personally, a top issue, always will be until it's done. We have a very strong bipartisan support for it in the Senate.
John, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks a lot, you guys. I appreciate it.
I wanted to ask you about Governor Walker's next biennium budget proposal, especially in terms of the education cuts. I'm a North Lakeland School Board member, and it's difficult to tell at this point what kind of effect this is going to have, but we're looking at probably more than $500,000 worth of cuts to our school, and we have a budget of less than $4 million. So this is going to be devastating for our education program. I want to know, is there a chance of compromise on some of these issues, and what route we might be able to take to help push those compromises along?
Well, the one thing about the budget bill, and one thing we had hoped to accomplish by leaving the state when the budget repair bill was considered, is that there's a lot of time to let your opinion be heard, to get to Representative Meyer and to me and talk about the impact of the budget bill on school districts here in northern Wisconsin. Public hearings on the budget will start in just a couple of weeks, and they will go through March and April into May. We won't have debate on the budget until late May, maybe early June, and the budget's going to be available for consideration for the next 4 months, basically. So we got a lot of time to learn about the impacts, learn about the consequences, not only of school funding, but health care and state services, statewide programs like the one John mentioned. And John is exactly right. Wait till you get a list of things that were just completely eliminated in this budget. Some of the high-profile ones, like the statewide recycling program, made news immediately, but as this budget, and if any of you have seen these budgets, there are thousands of pages, and this one, like every budget, even though Republicans disclaim ever wanting to take up policy in the budget and condemn it when Democrats do it, this budget is chock full of policy, and a lot of positions, programs, services are just going to be completely eliminated. And as time goes by, we're going to learn about those. But in answer to your question, I hope you would do the math once you find out by looking at the revenue caps and aid cuts how North Lakeland will be affected. And let us know your opinion of the consequences of that to your school and to your staff and to the curriculum that you're teaching there. I think when we look at northern Wisconsin schools, Some of them are going to come dangerously close to having to close or consolidate because of this budget. And that's going to as well become apparent as kind of the weeks unfold here. But there's nothing fair about some of these budget cuts. They're going to fall terribly unequally on school districts in different parts of the state. When you try to balance a budget solely through program cuts, and when you try to impose those program cuts basically on public employees, it's not fair, it's not equal, the consequences are not good, and that's going to become increasingly apparent as time goes on. And you ask, can this be changed? Yes, it can. If a sufficient number of Senate and Assembly Republicans are convinced about the inequity of this bill and how these budget cuts fall on different areas, they can amend it. And they will amend parts of it. I'm quite confident a lot of it will be amended. But given the Republicans' kind of lockstep compliance with Governor Walker's wishes so far this year, I think there will be less flexibility than there might ordinarily be in the legislature for the budget. I think a lot of them are just very, very eager to do whatever the governor is asking them to do. But just kind of stay tuned as this budget battle plays out in this state over the next 2 or 3 months. So, thanks again, everybody, for being here. Stay for Mike McCabe. Mike is going to be here. Stick around for Mike.
Good luck. Drive carefully.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Yeah.